In the last lesson on inverse proportion or inverse functions, you may have noticed that the function is really only considered in the first quadrant. And that's usually because inverse proportion type questions are set in real contexts where negative values have no meaning. For example, considering the inverse proportion of the time taken to fly to Brisbane, the time taken and the speed travelled can only be positive values, so it's only considered in the positive quadrant. If we extend the Cartesian plane to consider all values of x and y and all of the four quadrants, what we end up seeing is this reciprocal function, which has two branches, and these are the branches. It looks like two parts of different functions, but in actual fact, they are two parts of the same function. And very generally, a reciprocal function has the form of y equals k on x, where k is a constant and k does not equal 0. If k did equal 0, y would be 0 divided by x, which is just 0, and would result in a straight line. In fact, it would just be the x-axis. So k can't equal 0. The shape of the reciprocal function is called a rectangular hyperbola. So hyperbola is the shape of the graph that we met before. It's called a rectangular hyperbola because the two asymptotes are at right angles with each other. That's not always the case, but in the cases that we are looking at, we will only be dealing with rectangular hyperbola. Rectangular simply means having right angles. It doesn't necessarily mean an actual rectangle, it just means having right angles. The graph of a reciprocal function has a vertical asymptote when x equals 0, which is this asymptote here. Should be drawn in with a dotted line. And the reason for that is because when we divide by 0, the result is undefined. And you can see that if we let x equals 0, we end up with y equals k on 0, and it's this 0 in the denominator that causes the function to be undefined at that point. There's also a horizontal asymptote when y equals 0, and this is because there is no value of x which makes 0 equal 1 on x true. Okay, so 1 divided by any number is going to give you a non-zero answer. You might be tempted to go, oh, well, let's make x equal 0, but then we end up in the same situation. 1 divided by 0 is undefined. So 1 divided by 0 is not 0. And so this is the horizontal asymptote here. I'll mark it in green. So this one's in green and vertical is in yellow. And you can see that they form a right angle because they are in fact the y and x axes. Let's have a look at a couple of examples in the next video.